Now we're shining a spotlight on someone doing brilliant work behind the scenes of business and community. My next guest is Cordie Gwilym, the founder of Co-Cooperative, a company all about collaboration, creativity, and helping people do work that actually feels meaningful. Now we're going to dig into what Co-Cooperative does, what it's for, and how Cordie is using her skills to support others to grow. So welcome to my studio, Cordie.
Thank you. I am really excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you in my studio. I'm
Excited, stroke
excited.
nervous. Yes.
So, for anyone hearing your name and Co-Cooperative,
Yeah.
how would you describe Co-Cooperative in one sentence?
So it's very easy for me to do that. Co-cooperative in one sentence. We are here to make a positive difference to people and enjoy the day whilst doing it. That is basically it. That's what we signed up to.
I love that. So, what was the spark that made you think, I'm going to start this and the world needs Co-Cooperative?
Yeah, I guess it's very rooted in who I am. So when I grew up, it wasn't always easy. So I grew up in Germany. I grew up as an adoptee in a white family in a very white community, and there was lots of beautiful things happening for me, but there was also really difficult things happening to me in terms of like inclusion, in terms of like being seen by people,
Oh,
feeling
get to the
valued.
mic. Yeah.
So I think for me, it was always about understanding people and why people behave how they do and how I can get the best out of people. So that's really where Coco is rooted in that belief that we can support people to thrive and connect and create community.
I love that. And who are the people and organizations you love working with? And what kind of problems are they usually coming up with?
So we love to work with organizations that are committed to inclusion. We love working with organizations who really are saying, actually, we understand ourselves not just as profit making businesses, but also we have a commitment to social responsibility. Because when you run a business, you have an opportunity to create fantastic assets for the people who work for you. And as a ex-social worker, I'm still a social worker, but not practicing, I know businesses have a lot of freedom to do good stuff. You know, we can give people second chances. We can open doors for people who wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity. So I think that are the organizations we really love working with, because inclusion isn't easy, and we can help leaders to get the skills to be able to live it.
And you know what? You're launching something special in June called My Power.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'd love to. So My Power has been a baby emerging for a long time. So we've been working on it for about 8 years. And it's a platform basically that allows us to give something scalable to organizations so that they can give to their leaders that helps them with the two key skills that we really see repeatedly being the core of being inclusive in leadership, and that's empathy and curiosity with themselves, but also with other people. So we're really excited about it.
I love that empathy and curiosity.
Mm.
You're the first person that's put that together for me. And why empathy and curiosity?
Because empathy is so I always connected when I grew up. It was difficult sometimes for me to connect with adults because there's a lot of judgment in adults, and children was always easy because when we get born into this world, we are full of love and we have empathy for everybody, especially people who look different and who are different from us. And I think as adults, sometimes the systems, education, they create a lot of judgment. So what we've noticed is when we go back as adults to connect with our empathy, we can connect with people who are different from ourselves. And curiosity is that skill that, you know, again, coming from the world of children, when we are curious about other people's experience and then get quiet and let them speak, we will understand what people need to thrive. So in leadership, we've always find people and leaders who have a lot of empathy, but also are curious and really can be quiet and listen to what their staff need. They get fantastic teams who do fantastic work. So it's not only about doing right for people, it's also doing right for business.
And the funny thing as well is I always say the biggest skill as you can teach people is curiosity and listening.
Mm-hmm.
listening to what people are saying, listening sometimes to what they're not saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key. So I'm glad you said it took you 8 years because everyone thinks everything's a rush. It's like actually the beauty comes from just taking your time and allowing things to happen organically, and the world is constantly evolving. Now, can you share a moment or a project where you thought, yes, this is exactly why I do the work that I do?
I think it's that moment when you see people change behavior. It's very easy to be inclusive on a sunny Friday afternoon when everything's going my way. But it becomes hard when being inclusive means to resign from a board, because I recognize that actually those people who aren't represented are not there, and I need to make space for them. And that are the beautiful moments in our work when we work with organizations where we see this is the change. Because inclusion, if it was easy, we would all be doing it and we wouldn't have a problem in the world. It's hard, it's hard sometimes, especially when we're under pressure, especially when we are stressed and heightened, to stop and pause and think, okay, how can I be kind to myself and other people and curious about what needs to happen to make sure that diversity and representation stays through all the ranks of an organization. So these are the moments which we really cherish. And lo and behold, even when that happens, even when it means for us to take and step back in order to kind of create space for other people, whether that's, black and brown people or disabled people or people who are neurodivergent, it doesn't mean that somebody loses out. The table is big enough that we can make, you know what I mean? We can we can bring more chairs on the table. So I think our approach really allows for nobody to lose.
And you know what I always say, there's enough, like you said, there's enough room for everyone. There's enough abundance for everyone. The issue that we have is sometimes people think we're always lacking. There's a lack of, if you get it, that means that there's not enough for me. Actually, there's enough for everyone, and it's proven that time and time again. What keeps you motivated?
I think it is my connection to my past. So I'm kind of like, I'm establishing this model for myself of past, present and future. And I think my past, even though it does involve trauma, it's my trauma and it makes me powerful, shall I just say. Woo! And I think that is my motivation, because sometimes when you have experienced what it feels like to be left out, or when you have experienced what it feels like to not be seen, you can connect to how other people might feel.
Yes.
And it really kind of creates that I don't want that for other people. And I'm not always going to get it right, and that's okay too. But I'm going to try. And I think that motivation and the beautiful moments, they keep me motivated to do the work.
I love that. So anyone listening and thinking, I might need co-cooperative in my life, how can they get involved? How can they contact you?
So we are developing our presence. So it's not perfect, but we have a website. So that's, cocooperative.co.uk, coco-operative.co.uk, and we are on LinkedIn. We always love for people to reach out, because it is about connection and conversations. That's how we change behavior one step at a time. Just reach out. I'd always love to hear from people.
And before I let you go, I didn't even ask, where did the name come from?
Shall I really be honest?
Yeah.
Right, I started this business with my bestie, and that name came from a Friday night with one bottle of wine too many. I have no idea what we were thinking, and ever since it's like, but it just is. It just is.
I love it. I love it. Oh, Cordie, thank you so much for coming in, and I will see you very soon.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.